Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing fine today. I'm in the shade in Forest Camp, Valencia. First time here, actually much nicer than I expected. If you're in the area, you ought to visit it. You have cascading falls and lots of pools. The water isn't terribly cold. I thought it'd be really cold from the river. It's not bad considering. We have some competition with the dog behind me, and the fella just shut down his chainsaw over yonder about 100 yards, so I hope we don't get too much conflict from the noise. At any rate, today I want to talk about questions I had prior to retiring and during retirement. And you might apply these to yourselves. Maybe you're thinking or wondering about the same things. But the first one is, am I happy, or will I be happy in my retirement? Well, that depends on a lot of factors, doesn't it? In my case, I was alone. Family's far from me, thousands of miles, and I can't say that we're really close. Otherwise, I hardly see my sister in Canada. I think must be, it's less than 10 years ago, but I'm going to say about 7 years ago would be the last time I saw my only sister. My brother I saw about a year and a half ago, or 2 years. He's also in the States. He got his Filipina there with him now, so that's very nice. My one child of mine is in Iowa, and the other one is in Boston area. So I don't get to see them. That they certainly aren't an influence in my life. So what do I do all alone in my retirement? Am I going to just tolerate it? Is it something that I'm looking forward to? Yeah, everybody looks forward to quit working, but what's the future hold? What is what comes after the day you hang it up? Do you have plans? Are you making plans, or are you going to just make do with what you have, or where you are and what you do? There's a lot of questions that may go through your mind. Now, if you were unsettled like I was, then there'll be a lot more questions to deal with. Again, strong influences in my life. Did I have any? No. Divorced 2010. Partially the reason I believe that my kids are distant, and I don't see them much, and we don't communicate hardly at all, which is sad, but that's the honest truth. So I have no strings pulling at me from family. At one point, my sister did mention that, well, if you go to the Philippines, we'll never see you again. Well, that is a possibility. However, as often as we saw each other, it was very infrequent, as enjoyable as it was. You know, they're all busy with their own families, with their grandkids, and my kids, for example, with their work and their friends, and where would I fit in anyhow? Let's say that there was never an attempt on their part to visit me, so in my case, there just isn't any strong influence to keep me where I was. Could I afford to stay where I was? That would be the third thing that I contemplated. Well, if I was careful, yes, I could have afforded to stay there. I had house paid for, a car paid for, no debt whatsoever. And if I wanted to tolerate the day in and day out of not much to do, frankly, what is life? You know, there's someone that has said that in the end, it's not the years in your life that matters. It's the life in your latter years. So what kind of a life am I making for myself? I could stay there indefinitely and be bored to death. Or I could consider other places to move. Could I afford to stay in where I was there in Arizona indefinitely? I don't know, because my Social Security is limited, and later I'll touch on that, the reason why. And the year before I came here, my car insurance went up $100 for every 6 months. I have no tickets, no accidents, but it went up. I checked several companies. And that's on an 8-year-old car. At that point, I guess it was 7 years old. My home insurance went up $500 a year. I mean, things are just increasing like crazy. Food, I used to spend like $40 a week or every 8-10 days. Well, just before I left, I was buying the same stuff for about 90 to 100. So yes, inflation and of course COVID played a number on us there as far as costs are concerned. Has it improved? Not from what I hear, especially with the influx of all those people, some of them of which are looking for a better life. I can appreciate that. Some of which come here to do otherwise, and that's something else really to consider. What's happening to the country we came from? So cost-wise, I was contemplating making a change. I really was. Where to go in the United States? Really, I was in the cheapest place that I could find when I moved there 5 years previous, or 6 years, and that was Kingman, Arizona. I don't know if there's any lesser expensive place to live, but however, that was something that I needed to consider, and I did. Well, the fourth thing, should I move to another country? Well, there's other countries besides the Philippines. Philippines doesn't suit everybody. There's people who come here and absolutely hate it. There's people that come here for a visit and they don't leave. They go back to take care of business later. So there you go. Different, what's the old saying? Different strokes for different folks. So it depends on the individual. Okay, another thing, the fourth thing. Well, that was moving to another country. Well, I guess the question would be, which one? Well, my first thought was Mexico, because I'd spent a couple of years in Central America, and I was through Mexico, and I liked the place. Actually, the southern Baja would be very similar weather to here, and my Spanish isn't really fluent, but I can get along easily. So that was a consideration until I downloaded their requirements. That has changed in the last very few years. The requirements were, as far as the financial status, was above what I could afford comfortably. So I had to stroke Mexico out. But I had another reason shortly after that to consider the Philippines. I had been, as I mentioned before, involved in a pretty serious accident, could have been very serious, with an 18-wheeler tanker loaded, and I passed out. At any rate, in the hospital in Nebraska, I was there about a week, and I found out what Filipinas are like. I had about 14 or 15 nurses, day, night, different shift changes, and there was these two Filipinas that stood out in every area of their work. And I did not get personal with them at all. I was in such pain with a back injury. But they really impressed me. They were so sincere, so caring. They actually cared. They tried to do everything they could to make me comfortable. And like I say, nothing personal. I was in pain. And this continued till I left. Other nurses tried, and I would say they're average. One or two of them were very sloppy and really not considered. They're there for the job. So the Filipinas impressed me. So I came to the Philippines a few times, and well, here I am. So the fifth thing, if I move out of the USA, should I cancel my Part B? Because Social Security lessens by the amount it costs for Part B. In my case, at that point, it was $170. And I thought to myself, well, if I should resort to flying back to the States for some critical illness, so what happens? Let's see. I fly back, there's a bunch of costs there. Maybe I come back, maybe I don't. What do I do with everything I have when I'm here in the Philippines, if this is where I was moving? After I get out of the hospital, who cares for me? I wouldn't feel at all comfortable bothering my kids, and I'm not so sure that they would want me anyhow. I had no family close, so what happens? Well, you go into some kind of a facility. Is that what you want? That would be the last thing that I would contemplate. And if things progressed worse, you go into a nursing home. Well, I don't know if you know the conditions in nursing home. I had quite a bit to do with the nursing home. With my folks, may I say, Canada treated them well, but there was one very close where I had friends, and I was in there, and my goodness, you're looking at people that are desperate in their as far as health. Most of them don't know why they're there or if they're there. And is that the atmosphere I want? You know, if my mind is still there? Well, I decided no. So there are very good hospitals here. One especially St. Luke's in Manila, which is a short flight from any island, an hour, depending where you are, anywhere from half hour to an hour and a half. There's one in Cebu, Changhua. It's Chinese owned, but apparently it's very highly rated also. And there are other hospitals in larger cities that are reputable. So I decided, no, I'm going to supplement my Social Security with that 170 instead of the government taking it from me. So that's what happened with my Part B. Well, the other thing was, after divorce, you know, after 5 years, you start getting lonely. And if you've never been married, maybe you're lonely anyhow. Well, what happens when you're 65? What choices do you have? What opportunities do you have as it relates to a female companionship and possible marriage? What is there? Question 2, would you even want it? I don't have to describe older American women to you, or Canadian. I think you know what I mean. And so I thought, well, and I'll go to the Philippines, see what I can stir up. So that's what I did. May I say that at that point, I wasn't watching YouTube. I wish I would have. I would have learned a lot from some of these guys. I hadn't been. I just started watching YouTube just about I don't know, just a few months before I left for the Philippines. So if you're watching and you can appreciate some of which I'm speaking, and if it's helpful, I'm glad that I could be of any little help. But I encourage you to watch other channels and their experience too. So, can I let go is the last one. Can I let go of this? Had a nice house, I remodeled it. And that's my background, cabinet making, remodeling. Even though since 2008 I drove semi because there was nothing else for me. But it was a very nice house, and I could have been super happy. Had a nice upscale car, small one, but it was upscale, and everything's paid for, no debt. Well, again, I was tolerating my situation and not really enjoying it. So can I let it go? It wasn't difficult for me. Now, some of you who have great possessions, that means you're financially stable enough to fly back now again and take care of business if you had to. But if you're not, if you're like me on limited monthly income, then you might consider changing the place where you're sitting. And the other thing that I realized when I was there is friends. Did I have friends? My family was far away. I had a friend across the street. We would talk to him, on occasion for half an hour. I had a good friend in California. Well, he's still a good friend. His name is Bob. And we still communicate a lot. But he was in California after I moved out of there, which I felt I did just in time. And, I'm in Kingman, Arizona. It's 5 hard hours of driving. So it's not the same as having a friend close by to go out and have coffee with and shoot the breeze with. So I don't know your situation. You might have lots of friends, but is there anybody that cares in your life? I mean, does your family really care? They might object all kinds of ways. Do they really care? Are you going to live to please somebody else, or are you going to try to make the best of the rest of your life with where you want to go, what you want to do, etc.? I mean, let's face it, people change. People change. And can you depend on them for friends in the future? Some probably. But where does it stop, if it does? There's a quote by a songwriter. It goes like this: "Count your age by friends, not years. Count your life by smiles, not tears." So what's bringing you joy today, where you're sitting right now? I wasn't happy. Another one, follow your heart. Listen to your inner voice. Stop caring about other people's opinions. You know who wrote that? That was Steve Jobs. I think he was the founder of Apple, and he died in his 50s, I believe. And when he learned that he was dying, this is one of his quotes. So stop caring about what other people think. Where is it benefiting you? How is it helping you? Enjoy your retirement, if you are. The other thing he mentioned was in his endeavor to begin Apple, he said afterwards, "I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret it, but I might very well regret it if I didn't try." So listen, folks, you gentlemen out there, if you're not sure about the Philippines, this is what I would suggest you do. Just plan on being here for a couple or 3 months. You don't have to go to don't isolate yourself to one place, because there may be just a very beautiful place that you just really admire and would want to live in. And all these other opportunities will be waiting in line for you. So am I glad that I took the initiative to move to the Philippines? Emphatically, I say absolutely. And I don't anticipate going back unless for a visit, and if Americans are somehow forced out of the country. Otherwise, I intend on being here, and if you happen along to this beautiful country, with the exception of that chainsaw, I hope I can be heard over that. I've got both mics on, so I anticipate that it'll be okay. So with that, I'm going to close this out, but please consider all these simple things. And you know, plans don't make life, but you need to see results in your life, which takes action. It requires action. So what did I do? I took action. You can too, and you won't regret it. Worst case scenario is you move back to the States. What's wrong with that? So I'm going to close this out. Thank you kindly for watching, for subscribing, for sharing. I really appreciate that you do. And take care until next time. Bye now.